Hello, 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 hello. We're going to go through some comments today. Just going to address some things that were brought up. Going to try to keep a level head. There's so much that was brought up that kind of felt like if I had just gone through the pins and addressed every little thing, it would have looked like I was ranting. But, I just kind of want to not do that. I don't want to rant. That ain't me. Let me make sure my dude knows I'm live on YouTube and not Twitch. All right. Let's see here. Am I all right? Hopefully chat's working. I have trouble with chat on YouTube sometimes. We'll see. Let's come over here. We got the comments. We can go ahead and get started. Nobody's here yet, but it's whatever. Hey, there he is. Defaulted to Twitch. Yeah, I figured. It's a good thing I took the time to be like, I should tell him YouTube. Yeah. All right. So, first comment. I talked about Hoyoverse being a private company due to them not having good records or balance sheets, yet talk about them, and that's not something I brought up, but that's semantics. About them going to fail investors pull out. This makes no sense whatsoever. Hoyo doesn't have to care about this precisely because they are a private company. It's one of the reasons why Valve will never go public no matter how much profit margins they have. I saw this a lot, and not just on my video. Like, I thought this was common knowledge, but private companies still have investors. Right? That's what Shark Tank is. That's what Dragon's Den is. That's private companies approaching these entrepreneurs trying to seek investors. Like, the money to put out a game in the first place, it has to come from somewhere. Right? This isn't like just some indie dev that's homegrown, doing everything themselves and putting it up on the Steam marketplace, right? The money has to come from somewhere. Like that one's pretty simple. That's why I did that one first. It doesn't really take much to go into. Like, private companies have investors. That's just the way of the world. So, second point. A couple other points I want to make. Honkai Star Rail is less successful for a couple of reasons, but the main reason why the quality of life is better in Honkai Star Rail is because Honkai Star Rail actually competes with other gacha games. Don't let the open world fool you. It's just a very dolled up menuing gacha game where the end game is just big numbers, brr. And yeah, that's totally fair. Like, Honkai Star Rail is in a competitive market and Genshin just isn't. I did get a lot of comments being like, well, you could just play this game instead. You could just play this game instead. It's like, there's not really another game that does what Genshin does. We always get like the Breath of the Waifu things. Like, yeah, definitely it pulled things. It pulled a lot from Breath of the Wild, but it pulled a lot from a lot of other games. Genshin, the appeal of Genshin for me, as far as gameplay goes, aside from the Breath of the Wild stuff, I do love that, is that it's kind of like an MMO where you can set up all your debuffs and then do the stuff that you like, where you're actually doing stuff on screen, right? Like, I played it in Affliction Lock in World of Warcraft, so like I like setting everything up and then going brrr, and Genshin does that for me. Except it's not an MMO, and I appreciate that. you know, so I can enjoy the thing I enjoy about the game without engaging with people that are just going the dog on me the entire time. Like, that's one of the main things I like about Genshin. It does something, takes one of the things I really like about other games and puts it in a setting that like I actually jive with, and like nothing else really does that. Like, you look at something like Tower of Fantasy, right? You've got your three characters, but it's basically just, I'm doing my things, my stuff's on cooldown, let's go to the other thing, do all their things, the stuff's on cooldown. Like, there's no real synergy, at least at launch. I don't know about since launch, but like, it wasn't about setting things up and optimizing the way you put everything in, and it's different game. Like same skin, but like the gameplay is different. But yeah, that is totally fair. Like Honkai Star Rail does have to compete, so that is a good reason why they would give Honkai Star Rail things that they don't give Genshin. It's not a good reason; it's an understandable reason, right? I should be more careful with my language there. All right. Let's see. Can we not just continue playing and stop spending money? I don't see the difference in these options. Some people play Genshin for the story and exploration instead of being try hard, mass unfollow, mass disliking their videos, not paying, etc., etc. Yeah, like originally, like in the video, this is basically what I was telling y'all to do. I wasn't saying don't play the game. I was saying leave it up. But I've kind of changed my mind on that. And we'll probably talk more about that later. But I feel like it's a bigger ask to ask people to not play the game. Like change your name in game, like that's small and it spreads the message. It's not a big ask for people to do. We can get the word out about the protest. Let people at Hoyo see that we're actually doing something. It shows some organization. It shows that it's not just some like small minority of people like just yelling at a wall, right? That's something they could actually see. However, they can take the data of active users and they can sell it uh, to try to get more money coming in. And on the other end of that, what I was thinking was that, hey, if those people know that those numbers are higher because people are protesting the company, that they'd be like, yo, we know why you're doing this. This isn't reflective of what's actually going on. But that's naive of me. That is naive of me to think that those other companies would actually care about that. So I think it was either Sunday or Monday. I finally closed the game. I had it up since the launch of 4.4, and I was thinking, yeah, at least for me, like it does make more sense to not have the game up because like they could just potentially do that. Um, but it is a big ask to not play the game. So I'm still not really comfortable asking people to not play the game. I think changing your name, changing your profile picture, all of those things. Yeah, oh yeah. Mike noticed I closed it. I had the game up. I had the game up. What was it? Almost 2 weeks straight. Oh, look, it's your comment. Which one's yours? Which one? Am I there yet? I'm on 3 right now. All right. But yeah, I do feel like it's a big ass to ask people to not play the game. I feel like it's easier to get people behind the protest by not doing that. So I wasn't asking people to not play the game. So, a lot of other people are asking to do that, and like I'm more siding towards them, but like I don't feel like it's a reasonable expectation to ask people to not do it. I'm fine with doing it, but I feel like that might alienate more people than it brings in. The big one that got a bunch of likes that you're reading right now. Okay. Okay, so the one I'm reading right now is your comment. So, do you get what I'm saying there? Like, I wasn't telling people to not play the game. It's like you could still play the game. I was just saying leave it up even when you're not playing it. But they could use that data, you know? Is naive of me to think that companies would be like, yeah, but the reason the numbers are this high is because people are actively protesting your game. Like that's naive of me to think that other companies would actually care. So yeah, here's another one. I'm just a guy, But the East Asian culture of supreme deference to seniority is probably a major contributor to Hoyo being tone deaf. I'm sure a lot of people know they need to change, but somewhere up the ladder there's an idiot who is saying no. And in Chinese, Japanese, Korean culture, you rather let the plane crash, seriously look up the Korean flight, than go over senior management. I feel that the cultural aspect might mean that Hoyo is already doomed. 100%. 100%. The hierarchical structure in East Asian countries is very, very tight. Like, you do not step to management, which comes back to something I'm sure I'm going to talk about later. But going to Star Rail instead isn't really going to help us at all. Like, that's just funneling things into another thing that tells the upper manager, hey, things are all right. We're still getting all this. To have any sort of meaningful impact, like, there has to be a message that gets to the people on the top that can come down. Like, particularly with the change in leadership that I want and a lot of people want, like, that has to come from the top down. The Genshin team is not going to hold themselves responsible. For somebody to get thrown under the bus, we have to go above Genshin. But yeah, Mike and I both grew up in an Air Force town. Mike grew up in an Air Force family. So, like, we've got some unique perspective on what things are like in those East Asian companies. Like, yeah, you don't step to authority. Like, it's just not something that you do. It's not culturally acceptable in a lot of cases. So it has to come from somewhere else. Like, they have to get the message from somewhere else because nobody below them is going to bring it to them. All right, 850. This has also been done with the Cloud Retainer banner. Hoyo contacted smaller CCers, gave away 6.4K Primo packs, asked them to pull on Cloud Retainer for them and their chat streams, including Nahida Rerun. No wonder it's like the highest banner revenue ever. LOL. Whoever want Nahida has her now. She's carried over 40 to 50% of sales, most likely by now. I haven't seen anything to substantiate this, right? So I cannot comment on that. What I will say is the Cloud Retainer banner has fallen off, right? Those initial sales were not indicative of how well it's doing. It's still doing relatively well compared to other Fontaine banners. Not quite as good as the Farina banner. Yeah, I see this. I see this as more just speculation. I think it's important to point out that just because this, if true, supports my point, does not mean that we shouldn't take it with a grain of salt, right? All right. Let's see. Let's check out the chat. I mean, if most people did switch to Star Rail, the game will see an impact as they should, where most of their money comes from. If I remember, leading dev for Genshin has a stake for 41% in the company. You'd have to fire him or anything to really change. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It needs to come from the top down. He's not going to hold himself responsible for that. And if their bottom line isn't hurt, like if people start going to Star Rail and spending a shitload of money on Star Rail, like, it's like, okay, if I were them, I'd be like, oh, dude, like, Genshin's not where it's at. Like, why would we do anything for them if we're just going to make more money with this? Like, this has to come from the top down. And this one thing that kind of irks me that I've been seeing, and like, maybe this is petty of me. Maybe this is petty of me. But when I say, hey, let's boycott Genshin, And I get all of these, yeah, let's boycott Genshin. They're fucking us over, right? But then I say, and also don't go to Honkai Star Rail. People are like, wait, hold up. Hold up. How about, wait, I play Star Rail. I don't play Genshin. Like, you want me to not play Star Rail either? You're asking me to give something up? I was just like, yeah, I'm asking the Genshin players to give something up. Like, it's really weird to be fine with the boycott of Genshin when you don't play it, but then whenever something comes after the thing that you don't want to give up, you put the stops on it. It's not a good look, right? It's not a good look to say, oh, all of you, you should definitely give up on this other thing. Like, I have no stakes in giving up on this other thing because I don't do it. But, oh no, you're coming after what I want. You want me to do something. Oh, yeah, that's a bit too far, I think. I wouldn't know, but all I remember was that the stupid react button I can't read. Was the former director of Honkai and picked third, then moved the Genshin. Yeah, that part is 100% true. That part is 100% true. Um, you could just do a simple Google search for that. All right, number 6. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't even touch on that. Yeah, that's probably the main reason why I included that too. Is and this like full disclosure, like we're totally just speculating here. But we come back over to our doc here, right? And this is something we'll probably touch on later again too. The thing I pointed out in the video, the one thing that everyone's like, this would be incredibly stupid of Hoyo. But if they counted that, like if they actually charged sales for those primos they gave out, that would explain this. That would be incredibly stupid. But that would explain this. Like if they were actually counting the primos that they gave out as lost revenues, that would explain this. It would be so astronomically stupid if they did that, but it would explain it. Oh, you do this to Genshin intentional, I swear to God. Maybe. Kai Hayo did step down from Genshin according to some players, but he is still the guy on Genshin Wikipedia. Yeah, that's another problem that we see a lot. It's I think Reddit is the biggest problem with this. Is someone says something and it gets updated and everyone just goes with that and assumes it's true. From my experience, Reddit is probably the least reliable source on the internet, especially Genshin Reddit. Initially, when all of this started, you had people saying, "Oh, Hoyo did respond," and they said that they're going to like that didn't happen. It didn't happen. I was able to trace that to a Sportskeeda article, which was referencing a comment on Reddit. No shade to the people writing at Sportskeeda. Like if you're asked to write 20 articles a day, like the bar for journalism gets a lot lower, right? It's really hard to get a bunch of sources for that many articles. Like the bar gets lower, like you end up just quoting people on Reddit. And like to be fair, like they don't. And yeah, Freeman can tell you all about that. uh, um, but yeah, Sportskeeda also like I would take anything there with a grain of salt. Like I said, like it's work overload. Like you they can't really verify everything that's going on, and also like they just generally don't play the game. If you look up tier list on there, they're going to put every 5 star above every 4 star. Uh, it's it's just I have to write this many Genshin articles. They don't even have time to play the game, right? We can't expect too much from them. All right, that's why getting is kind of the better option. In a tech tone video reacting to Solda's video, I related this whole situation, the GBF scandal. The whole thing didn't get resolved until a good half of the player base left. There's also a rumor about 20 polls for upsetting fans. Doing a sit-in and game does nothing when they can turn private investors that say, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That, like, in response to your thing, is that it was naive of me to think, oh yeah, the companies will realize that that data that they're handing over is scuffed. Um, Naive of me to think that they would care, even if they did know. Which is why I stopped playing as of Sunday night. I finally closed it. I realized, hey, this particular thing isn't helping that much. I do still think it's a big ask to ask people to not play the game. I feel like that alienates more people from the cause than it does bring in. But asking people to not spend money is the big one. Asking people to not spend money and like changing something public facing on their profile to where they can see the discontent, like, and know that it's not just coming from little whiners, right? We have a legitimate reason to want them to do better. Let's see here. All right, number 6. You don't understand how sales are calculated, how publisher tax wrong. So there's two possible scenarios. They gifted these packs to creators via their own client, in which case they don't have to pay anybody 30% cut. However, that would also mean that the revenue wouldn't be calculated in the chart everyone is referencing, as it specifically calculated loss iOS, Android revenue. They bought these packs themselves via the App Store, and that's just stupid. So this got this right here is going over exactly what I was just talking about. The alternative explanations and like how they're just dumb. And I thought that 7 was in reply to that. GBF. Oh, Grand Blue Fantasy. Right. All right. 7. Very nice video, man. I've had We Need More Endgame as my profile description for a year and a half. What I really don't like, both sides of the community do this, is some people just make up numbers to invalidate the other opinion. Only 1% of Genshin fans watch online content, or the game is fine, look at the banner sales. No one is referencing the data, and if they are, they dismiss other factors that contradict their argument, all while defending the company from doing something that would just be a net positive. So it's pretty refreshing to actually see some numbers and context as to why they're like. All right, so I'm going to be a little petty here. I'm going to just a smidge petty. When my content was being reacted to, I got the whole, oh, well, these sources can't be trusted. It's obvious that this is true. And I got trust me broed. How? When one person is literally talking out of their ass. They're just going off of, oh, people say this. People, like, not anything that's substantiated, just people in general, this is what they think. And then I actually come in with the source and say, hey, this is what the data is showing. We can talk, we'll talk about the credibility of that data later. But I am getting trust me broed when I'm actually like looking into to see if these claims are true. I'm not saying trust me. I'm saying I'm looking at the data. I have gone through and I have contextualized all this data which is something no one else even bothered to do. It was all just speculating and saying things without like any sort of context and just hoping people agree with it, right? And like I'm being petty right now. I know I'm being petty. But how am I the one getting trust me broed? Like it doesn't make sense to me. I like I'm the one coming in with sources. Huh. Right. All right, so about the Grand Blue Fantasy. Most people got third or fourth prize, and the lotto was rigged against people getting first or second. They had to give out second prizes to everyone, but most whales already quit the game. Nowadays, it returned to what it used to be. There's a big stain on Grand Blue Fantasy's legacy since the Money Gate. My uncle works at Hoyo. Let's that Freeman. No, we cannot go there right now. It is a very very bad time to go there. Oh no, oh no. Oh, but yeah. Virus. Yeah, that's something that's been going on in other aspects. It's not just in the gacha space. Like we potentially, allegedly, saw this with the Logan Paul solid gold prime bottle. It's basically the same thing that you're talking about there. Uh, there's a specific way that you can set that up to where it's legal to rig it that way. Uh, it's fucked up. It's screwed up. It ain't good, but like that's just something that kind of happens. All right. So number 8. The relevant process is explained in the video, but I believe the term is not correct here. I believe that what Hoyo has presumably done is labeled a buyback, not bootstrapping. In short, they are using the capital to buy their own product or shares, in this case Prima Gems, in order to boost their apparent sales. This way, they can show external investors that Hoyo is doing just fine to avoid having them leave due to risk of loss of return of investment. Yes. I went with bootstrapping. It seemed to be the best terminology to use that would not get me in legal trouble with Hoyo. So this is the closest thing that I can say they might be potentially doing without sounding like I might be accusing them of committing fraud. And I am not accusing them of committing fraud. Okay? Right? But yeah, there were people that didn't really understand what I was saying with why this is sus. So I'll tell you a story. When I was in junior high, right? It was ninth grade. Here, ninth grade is junior high for some reason. I don't know why. That's just the way they do it. When I was in junior high in ninth grade, I was in ROTC, which is like pre-Air Force, right? It's something you can do to get your rank a little higher whenever you enlist. It's something that looks good. And, you know, being in an Air Force town, like even if I don't go into the military, the fact that I'm in ROTC really helps with my resume, right? I was thinking about stuff like that in ninth grade. Probably a waste of time. Anyways, we had this candy sale, right? And you could buy a bar of candy, all these different types of candy for $1. I really liked 100 grand bars. So there were a couple times. Let's say I had 10. Let's just simplify this. Let's say I had 10 candy bars. 2 of them were 100 grands. Somebody gives me $1 for another candy bar. I'm like, I'm going to use this dollar to get myself 100 grand. Somebody buys another candy bar. I'm like, I'm going to use this dollar to get myself 100 grand. And then the rest of the candy sells out. So I have $10 in net sales. Right? I sold $10 worth of product. But my revenue at the end of the day is $8. Right? Because I used the money that went into the sales to get product for myself. That's the relevant process that I was explaining there. Like that is how you have more in sales, significantly more in sales than you have at the end of the day. Just dropping in the point out for Arknights during the segment where you mention other gacha games need multiple copies to make a character usable. Arknights has never had that requirement. There is no meta in the game, and anyone is useful if you know how to make them work on a specific stage. As long as you get a copy of the unit, they're usable. Duplicates only give a slight advantage boost, but no more than that. Mats can be gotten from permanent stages and game modes, some not even needing stamina usage, and you could theoretically promote them to max level in 2 weeks, tops as free-to-play. Not to mention, Arknights is far more free-to-play friendly and easier to save your pulls for the one unit you want for whatever reason. Having problem clearing a stage, you can always borrow an operator from strangers and friends, and most would have that max built until you may need. This last thing, like I think that this should just be a thing in Genshin, right? Like that'd be good. So many gacha games do this. Like I don't really know if there's a reason not to. But like that should be a thing in Genshin. But yeah. Let's see if I can find this. There it is. Didn't get far enough in Arknights to confirm that, but I've heard similar things from veterans. Yeah. What they're saying is it's similar to Genshin. Like, you don't need copies. And, like, I'll take that at face value because it's kind of irrelevant to what I was saying here. Because Genshin, you also don't need copies. I'm talking about the ceiling for whales. So, like, you have your giga whales that will spend to get the max of everything, right? In Genshin, you have C6R5. That's your ceiling. Whatever that amount. In other games, whatever the amount is to get to that ceiling. The max amount you can spend to maximize the character. From what I had heard, and like I should not have included Arknights, Fate Grand Order, or Epic 7 here. I had just heard that the ceiling is astronomically high in these games, particularly in Fate Grand Order and Epic 7. These are the two that I have experience with. And there was something, if I can find it. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. It should be like right here. FGO's Gacha hurt so much. It's the weapons you're missing. If you ever heard Toho Sniper, he wails for the best weapons multiple times, even though he really doesn't have to. I'm assuming you're talking weapons in Genshin. And like, if we're talking about the ceiling with pulling multiple weapons when you don't have to, like, there is no limit to the ceiling there. I'm just talking like the realistic ceiling. Like we're already talking about doing things that are just bad investments in general. But like the typical ceiling. Where is it? I'm looking for a particular thing. Where? Maybe I should just play through, right? Builds for Solo Abyss for those characters. If whales carried Genshin, sales would not be so much lower than they were in 3.0. But it's Gacha. Gacha equals carried by whales. Not
Yeah,
Genshin.
it should be like right
Do
here.
you know what the biggest thing that separates Genshin from other
It should
gachas?
be like right here.
The ceiling for whales is much lower. How many copies of Writing? All right, this is what I was looking for. So many people, and like this comes back to hello, Asher. I can't pronounce your name. Ashertosh? Mund? Can I just go with Mund? Mund's easier. So many people, like I underestimated the amount of people who have Genshin as their first gacha game. One of those, like, there's so much that's going around where people just assume things to be true that I am in a position where I just like doubt almost everything anyone is saying. Right? So I underestimated the amount of people whose first gotcha game was Genshin because they did not know. They did not know what I meant when I said, how many copies of Writing can I have on a team? Krish? All right, Krish. Yeah, Krish. Make sure I can read that. So, there's this thing in other gachas. For instance, like if we look at the two that I am most familiar with, being Fire Emblem Heroes and GXB. What I normally just do GXB 2, but like it, Girls 2 X Battle 2, right? Oh no! Now I have to find it again. Oh no! How many copies of Writing can? Right. So another thing that you'd normally see in gacha, I would not just be able to have one Raiden on my team. I could have 4 Raidens on my team if we were talking about a lot of other gachas. So, compared to like Fire Emblem Heroes, Fire Emblem Heroes, like I could have 4 C6 R5 Raidens. That's where the ceiling is. It's even higher in Fire Emblem Heroes because there are other limited characters that you need to get the skills off of them to put on the character that you want to use. It was really bad whenever I quit because there was a character called Fallen Edelgard. I was playing through the end game and I got to a point where it was 4 Fallen Edelgards that were all maxed, that had all the actual abilities that they needed. And it was like, I have found the ceiling of this game and it is so far out of my reach. Yeah. So like this is the point I was bringing up. When I asked how many copies of Raiden can I have on my team, this was a statement of like a baseline of where the ceiling is. We can only have one copy of a character active at a time. We can get multiple copies of that character, which other gacha games do, but we can only ever have one Raiden. So like just that right there, the fact that you can only have one copy of a character really limits the ceiling of what you can spend. And like I underestimated how many people have never experienced other gachas where that is a thing. I shouldn't have done that. Like I should not have just assumed that other people would understand what I was asking when I asked, how many copies of Raiden can you have on your team? All right. So, number 10. The thing I don't understand is how they determine Genshin players are not loyal. If the argument is they left Genshin for Honkai and didn't come back, then why did all this bad stuff from start 3 years ago? There's no explanation to say that Genshin players weren't loyal before. And like this like I was very inactive in the comment section this time around. This I favorited. This is a really, really fair point. I don't really have any reason why they would think that Genshin players weren't loyal before the launch of Honkai Star Rail. So I don't. It's not something I thought about. I was just looking at what I had in the data and it was like, oh yeah, this is, it looks kind of like, you know, things kind of started to just fall apart after Honkai Star Rail. So maybe they're looking at Genshin like it's kind of a lost cause. But like these things we're asking for, it has been a long time coming and they did not do it. So the loyalty thing, probably more of a recent thing, but it does not explain why they didn't act before. That is a totally fair point, something I didn't consider. All right, so why I'm questioning your sources is because I remember people saying that CN iOS market was fake, faking revenues to make it look like the site wanted it to look. I don't know if it got proven, but I heard many people don't take it as a reputable source. Here's the thing. Like we have our issue right here. I remember people saying, like, the whole reason for me contextualizing all of this data is because we have this data. It may not be credible, but we have it. This is what we have to work with. Up to this point, everyone's either looking at these things out of context or they're just kind of talking out their ass. So I did the thing that no one seemed to have the patience to do, and I went and contextualized it. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, this is what I have to work with. And, like, let's talk about the credibility of the source. Genshin Lab, I have not found anything definitive. Somebody linked a post on Reddit, which, I mean, alarm bells going off there. It's a post on Reddit. And their argument was that, hey, these numbers are increasing in certain intervals, right? But here's the thing. It was something like 6 million, blah, 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 blah. This is a 22 million banner. This one, 16 million and 9.2. You could pick a point somewhere in here and increase the slider to another point, and it would increase by that interval. Like, we're going up by single dollar increments. We're going up by single dollars. There's going to be a point in all of these that go above that threshold where you can point to it and say, haha, it went up by that amount. So to me, that is not anything disqualifying. And that is literally the only thing that I saw that anyone put any, like, that anyone looked into and put some sort of data out. Everything else just seemed to come out of nowhere. Genshin Lab may not be reliable. Like, I'll grant that. Like, it may not. I have no reason to doubt it, though. Just because other people are saying it, I have not seen any reason to doubt it. However, Gacha revenue, this is a different story. Totally different story. And I originally wasn't going to include it. Like, I didn't know about this until I saw a certain video where someone was using this to make a certain point about the protest and saying, oh, I hope next month, going to look at this next month and I hope it's all down. Like, that's how I found out about this. And I was like, well, I have this data now. It may or may not be reliable, but I'm trying to come to the best conclusions I can with what we know instead of just parroting what other people are saying. Because, fun fact for any kids that might be in the stream, people can be wrong. Right? There's a marketing ad for a vape company called Views, and it says, millions of people can't be wrong. That is untrue. Millions of people can be wrong. 100%. 100%. It is a logical fallacy. It's called appeal to the majority. Just because a lot of people are saying it doesn't mean it's true. But let's point out what's wrong with gacha revenue. If we come down here, we see this is rounded to the thousandth, which means we have a $999 margin of error. If we come up here to the top, this is rounded to the millionth. So we have a $999,999 margin of error. Why would they give us a margin of error so low here and then be like, oh yeah, basically $1 million margin of error for this? That's sus as fuck. Right? So, like, I agree. The gacha revenue is sus. It is very, very sus. But this is what I have to work with. But yeah, people have problems with gacha revenue. People have problems with Genshin Lab. This is what we have to work with, though. Like, I'm going against claims that are unsubstantiated at all. So I'm working with what we have. I feel in my heart that my investment in this game is going right down the toilet as soon as MiHoYo deems it no longer profitable, as in I can feel that they don't truly value us. It's been sinking feeling since Dia released at the other moments over the years. Speaking of, I don't think I included this comment, but somebody was like, he called Dia a limited banner. Yeah, Dia was a limited 5-star. She was added to the standard banner, but she was a limited 5-star. Like I don't even know what else to say to that. But like that's besides the point. I've played since the day Zhao's first banner released, and during that banner, I wailed to his C6. I've never once regretted doing that either. That is amazing. That is amazing that you could C6 a character and not regret it. Because, like, I'll talk about that in a bit. During the banner, I never once regretted it either. But only now do I realize MiHoYo doesn't truly value my time or money. It's really sad, and even though I still love and enjoy playing, it's slowly making it less enjoyable to me. The repetitive quest lines, the obvious effort to just eat, consume, play time, and mainly withholding of rewards and quality of life that we deserve. I'm changing my player name for the first time since 2020 when I downloaded the game, and good on you. And very, very good on you. They did do Dia so dirty. What was I saying with this? In other moments over the years I played. Right. Okay. This game is going down the toilet as soon as MiHoYo deems it no longer profitable. That's the gacha market. That's the live service market. Like one day Genshin will die. I would prefer us to finish the main story of Genshin before then. But one day, inevitably, it will die. It is a live service game. One other thing I can say about here. I saw they'll be fine even if it drops to 10% of what it is now. Like 100% no. 100% no. If these games went down to making 10% of what they're making now, Dawei would walk to Tencent himself and be like, hey, I got something you might be interested in. Like things would not like it would be on the market. Somebody would be snatching Genshin up if it were doing that poorly. The idea with locking plot content behind the paywall is stupid. In free game, I haven't. All right. This is something. So many people misunderstood this. And I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it's just like some biases towards how they think gotchas work. I was relating this to something that MMOs do, that a lot of live service games do when they get too big. I was not saying lock Inazuma behind the paywall. I was saying add an option to where new players, when they join the game, can pay to skip directly to Inazuma. Like you can still play through the game normally, get to Inazuma normally, but you would also have the option to just immediately go to Inazuma. There's something a lot of MMOs do. It's something WoW did that people were very, very angry about, but now people are very, very glad is a thing in the game. Is it possible that Hoyoverse will listen to us? I think so. I think if we get enough people making us think, they will have to. I don't think that being defeatist about it is going to serve anything. I think if anything, that serves the message. I think if yes, 100%. That's why I said make AR30 purchasable, right? Like you can purchase AR30 and unlock Inazuma, go straight there. That way, like if Raiden is on the banner and you're joining the game because you want Raiden, you don't have to play for a month to get to a point where you can actually build her. That's been a problem since Inazuma launched. It's something that we definitely need to change because it's hurting player retention. People are joining the game, they're not spending as much money because the content that they need to boost the characters that they want to play is not accessible to them. So yeah, this was something that was massively, massively misunderstood. I was not saying put Inazuma behind a paywall. No, that is so dumb. Like no, absolutely not. Just make it to where when people join the game, they can build the characters they want to build. They've done something like that. Like they've been whenever they release new content, like since 4.0 and in 4.4, adding a waypoint to where you can get to the new area. So you could just be like, hey, I can immediately go get the things I need to level the characters I want to level. So they're like stepping in the right direction there. Um, the reason I said make it purchasable, like that's an additional revenue stream. That only helps the company. It helps the player base that want to get in and do their thing also, but primarily like it doesn't make sense that they haven't done that from like an economic standpoint. That's an additional revenue stream that will get people to be able to play the characters that they want to play, which will in turn increase retention. Like it just to me it's a no-brainer for something that they should do. Inazuma should not be locked behind adventure ranks. And as far as adventure ranks, removing the content locks for that, what I'm talking about with that is I should not uh, finish the Leoet Archon quest and then have to grind out 7 adventure ranks before getting to Inazuma. Like, you should just be able to play through from one quest to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, without getting stopped and having to go do random things. Like, you should just be able to move through the game and play through the main story if you want to. Those AR content locks, a lot of players are going to hit those and be like, well, I don't want to do this other stuff. I just want to play through the story, and they'll quit the game. It doesn't help retention. Why not make an NPC in Mondstadt that sells the material from Inazuma? I think that that's probably a bit more complicated than just making it to where there's a teleport waypoint unlocked in Inazuma. And also, as far as the item economy goes, uh, the more cost there might be prohibitive. But that's something I'll have to think about. There probably should be more in-game shops that you could purchase things with Mora, but I can also see that throwing off the Mora economy. And that's probably significantly harder to implement. Uh, hey, about the discrepancy between sales numbers, Sensor Tower shows top countries for Star Rail, iOS, US, Japan, Vietnam. Maybe it doesn't track the Chinese numbers. I mean, it would make sense to me. CN spends more money on the game. Also, Cloud Retainer Nahida banner only made record for day one sales, and actually not even day one sales. Like it fell off before the end of day one. If you check her numbers in comparisons to other banners for the whole duration, then it's nothing crazy. Yeah, like I was saying, it's doing worse than Farina is doing. It's doing better than a lot of the other Fontaine banners have so far, but it did fall off, 100%. But this right here. So this is global plus Japan. So let's assume for a minute that this does not include China, which is like that's fair. That's fair. My boy BMO did his due diligence and found some things that I was not able to find. I'm doing all right. We're just going through. We're just addressing some things that were brought up in the comments. This right here. So we have 30% China. 30% China. This is just Android and iOS. So like not PC, but like with none of the data that we're using, we're looking at PC or PS4. We don't have any of that. But we have 30% is those markets. We also have Japan, 21%. United States, 18%. 21 plus 18 is 39. So, what I was doing with the data was overselling what was actually coming out of Japan. So, if we come here, we make a copy. I should make a copy of this. Convince quite a few of your friends. That's great. That's great. As many people as we can get joining in, that's awesome. So let's see here. Gacha Rev. Please let me move this. What we can do, we know that because of this, that global is 18% higher. So what we need to do is we can take all of this stuff and we can let's add another column here. Insert one column right. Okay. We can take this. Is it equals multiply we're going to take this and we're going to do I think it's 82%. It should be 82%, I think. So A2 times 82%. Let's see if we can do it like this. No. What we can do is times 0.82. No. Can we do... All right, hold on. We'll just do this. 0.82. There we go. Equals multiply. And you can tell how much of a boomer I am because I have to click. A2 by C18. That's not right. No, we want... Do we want to do 18? Okay, multiply A2 by... Let's change this to 18. All right, hold up. 18. That's 28. I think this is wrong too. Equals multiply A2 to C18. Yeah, no. We were closer before. Let me just pull up the calculator. My Sheets game is so bad. Calculator. And you could do this along with me. 68 million times 0.82. That's what I'm trying to do. 55,760,000. And you can pull up your calculator and do that yourself. Is what the CN market should be. If this is true, we can use this to figure out what the CN market should be. And it's 55,760. So let's take that. We'll come down here to the one that was really sus. Which, let's go back to our aggregate data. The one that was really sus. Right here, 28 million. If we take 28 million and we do that by 0.82, 28 million times 0.82 equal to that 22,960 million. Let's do this in the copy since we don't want to mess anything up. 2269. All right, I haven't looked at chat in a little bit. Okay. At this rate, Hoyoverse is going to be in trouble. I used to believe in Genshin Lab. So far, like I was saying earlier, I have not found a reason to doubt Genshin Lab. I have not. I got one link, and it said things are going up by an increment that's consistent through all of these. These are going up by $1, right? As long as that increment is less than this total amount, every single one of these will be able to say, hey, it went up by this amount. Like that is not convincing to me. And that is the only thing I have found that seemed sus about it. So anyways, back here. 2296 and then 4 zeros. 2296 times 4 zeros, and then we are going to divide that by by our revenue, which was 22. We're going to divide the sale. Yeah, divide the sales by. How did I do this? Yeah, we're dividing this by the 26.92. So 40, 70. Let me just copy this. Copy. Paste. Okay. It's hard to see. What is it? Is it only 480p? Oh no. Oh no. We can go into Streamlabs and zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. Is that better? So if we take this 40, we can just do equals divide, equal, divide. We're going to do, this is E23, E23 by E21. How did I mess that up? Remember, 2 cannot be 0. Oh, 22. There we go. That actually increases the difference. If we adjust things for the CN market to reflect Genshin Lab, That increases the discrepancy. It was 145%. Now it's 179%. So this is one of those things is like, hey, there's something weird about this. Don't make a conclusion before doing the math yourself. Right? Because that thing that you brought up actually goes against the argument against me. Like it bolsters this. It makes this worse. So yeah. That's why we don't trust common sense. We do not think logically. We just don't. This thing that seems like it would go against this thing, when we actually do it, it goes for it. It makes it more extreme. And I gotta thank BMO for finding this, because I did not know about data AI when I was going into this. If I had, I would have done this entire thing different. I would have done this entire thing different if I had. So we spent a long time on that, so let's move on. Very informative video. I do appreciate... Oh, I can... we can still see the entire text here. That's fine. Very informative video. I do appreciate the content ideas you threw out there. Too many people keep trying to justify the crap with Xiang Yun. I'm not even saying that they can't pull for her while that would be helpful to the cause. I'm just saying, for the love of God, please stop marketing for them. If I may, I do have another good video idea for a video, alternatives to Genshin. That's something we've kind of already talked about, is that like there are other things that have the same skin as Genshin, but they do not provide the same thing that Genshin provides. And I don't think we're going to get a true competitor. I don't. From what I've seen out of Wuthering Waves, is that it is not going to give me the same thing that makes Genshin satisfying. It'll give me challenging content. It gives me good ARPG stuff, but it does not give me the team building aspect that I am looking for out of Genshin. That is the thing that makes Genshin fun to me. It's putting these puzzle pieces together to come up with something. Laziest content formats known to man. People keep saying that there isn't one, which, yeah, I agree with them on that. I have not found anything that's close. The closest thing is something that other people have been recommending, is Aether Gazer. At the same time, like, you're just like, they're doing their own thing. That's not really what I want out of the game. Just have the NPCs going around doing their own thing. That's my least favorite thing about Farina, is that like we just have to depend on them doing what we want them to do. I don't like that. I think that's a narrative spun by content creators to keep viewership consolidated in one spot. There are only so many with necessary skills set to transition over into other games. And easy views and growth bag for everyone, big and small. Sure, that's nice, but it's also a lot of what you're saying in the video. That's people lying for their own personal benefit. I don't want to smear other content creators. I said, hey, if you did this, you are a scab. That is me giving constructive criticism. Me saying, hey, you're a scab, and leaving it at that is not constructive criticism. What I did, if we come back here, yeah. After pointing out that they're being scabs, which is something I think they need to know. I don't want anybody going through and being just spamming them, you're a scab, you're a scab. It's like they have gotten the message by now, right? We don't need to push it anymore. If they are going to do something about being a scab, then they're going to do it. If they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. We don't need to be like totally dogging on them. It is important to point out to them, hey, this is where you fucked up. I went through and I made parody thumbnails for everyone. Here's a Sevi thumbnail. Let's see if we can go back. Let's just play through it. I made parody thumbnails for everyone. I was like, here are video ideas that you could use instead of promoting Xianyun. Like, I am not trying to take money out of their pocket. I am giving them ideas for other things they could do besides promoting Xianyun. I want them to get their bag. I think the ideal scenario right now is for every content creator to be getting their bag, but not Hoyoverse. That's what I think. I think to an extension of that is that content creators should be getting their bag without doing things for Hoyoverse. Videos that will still ride the algorithm so you can still get your bag without being a scab. In-game change. I'm going to be petty. But I went through and I made budget parody thumbnails for everyone for the creators, because I only came up with four ideas for the video. But I made parody, here's Gacha Gamer. Here's a thumbnail for Gacha Gamer. Changes right? That will save Genshin. Genshin quality. Ziox, right? I do stuff like this a lot in my videos where I just spend so much time doing the stupidest thing, and then just for a quick laugh at some point, and no one ever points it out, and it makes me so sad. Quality of life updates that need to happen. Top changes need. There's a Sevi one. For new and returning Genshin players. How to beat Spiral. And there's the I win the lose one. Come on, that's funny, right? That's not just me. Nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. I wish some indie dev would just outright copy Genshin core gameplay and somehow succeed. I don't know. I think Hoyoverse is too litigious to let that happen. Then again, that may just that could backfire in Hoyoverse too. But things have happened with Nintendo. And while we're being petty and me pointing out things that little funny things that I did. Where are we at? We're speaking out and letting their audiences know how the protests were justified and that they understood their audience's discontent. But then Xianyun dropped and every single... Oh, we can't see it if I actually go full screen. Hold up. The duality of man. The thing that started it all. Tying it all back together. Just 1 second of a joke. Nobody saw it, or nobody thought to point it out. It just makes me sad. All right. But yeah, definitely don't go out of your way and harass people. They've gotten the message by now. If they're not going to change, then just don't watch their stuff. I don't know what else to do about that. It's there is another thing though. And this is me talking out of my ass. And I did not say this in the video. There is another possibility. Just a possibility. Just throwing that out there. Is that Hoyoverse did respond. And those content creators' response was their response. Hoyoverse may have greenlighted them to make those videos. Just a possibility. Just a possibility. But Hoyoverse may have greenlighted them to make their videos. Which would be even scummier. Because then they're throwing them under the bus. They're distracting away from Hoyoverse being shady and making all those content creators to be the bad guys, which is really shady. And if that were the case, I'd be even more disappointed in the content creators. I said, and this is true, I am painfully non-confrontational. That does not mean rolling over and just accepting anything that anyone does ever, right? That means if something doesn't need to be escalated, I'm not going to escalate it. If this company is telling you to throw yourself under the bus and leave yourself open for harassment for the sake of the company, that's a point where even the most non-confrontational person on the planet should be stepping up for themselves. That is something that needs to be escalated. That is bad. And like to an extent, that happened even if Hoyoverse didn't tell them to make those videos. I think that's really sad. I think that's the thing that disappoints me the most. But yeah, here's that. All right, this one's weird. Agree with you, X of Genshin is Aether Gazer. Most units are complete at C0, meaning pulling for copies unnecessary because the game is not even hard. Even the latter half of that, like, that doesn't matter. Like, I was pretty clear on my position of that. Like, you don't need to pull for copies of characters in this game. It's a bad investment. Like, I'll just be straight with that. Like, pulling for refinements on weapons, even pulling on the weapons in the first place, right? And pulling for cons, it's a bad investment. You'll never need them. This is the thing that I am questioning here. Agree with you, X. Who is X? This is something I saw quite a few times. I don't know if this is like I'm just too boomer to understand like this terminology, or if they are actually leaving comments for people that are not me. But I did get quite a few comments for Tectone, like directed at Tectone, as if the video they were commenting on was his video. And like I got stuff like this, a few people saying, "Hey X," right? Who's X? Can somebody please tell me? I don't know what's going on with this. Why am I getting comments directed at potentially like other people? I don't get it. I don't understand. It got me tripping. Am I X? Am I somebody that I don't know I am? All right, a whole bunch of basic chests that give you 2 Primos compared to Honkai Star Rail I see is bullshit. It didn't bother me before. Oh, well, it's exploration. All these chests I find around make up for it compared to the limited Star Rails. But then the data came out, and apparently Star Rail gives you much more currency per patch. This is me going to bat for Hoyo here. I know the colloquial meaning of X. It's like I got comments like that so often that it feels like somebody else reacted to the comment and they were commenting on my video like they were leaving it for that person. But this right here, like I'm going to call this out. This is something that's been going around for a lot. It's like, oh, these chests only give so many primos, so many primos, so many primos. The chests don't only give primos. The chests give heroes wit, they give weapons, they give artifacts, they give mora. All of that is resin I don't have to spend. You know? Like, and the weapons, those are wishes I don't have to make to get crystals to level up weapons. So the chests do more than give you primos. You save so much time and get to spend your resin on other things that matter by actually doing the exploration content. It's not just primos. That is the like. If I say one thing in defense of Hoyoverse here, it's that this narrative that the chests are only there for primos. That's total BS. Anybody that does exploration could probably tell you how much time that they save, and like just like days wise. Like you only get so much resin in a day. Not having to spend resin means that you can build your characters faster. I played both games, and I feel like you need a lot more 5-star in Honkai Star Rail than Genshin, and other 4 stars in Honkai Star Rail are a lot worse than 5 stars, unlike Genshin, which has been Benny Singcho Xianling. Hello. I'm assuming that says have a good day. I can't see because of the react button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I played Honkai Star Rail. I played through their China region, and like the 4 stars, at least at the time I was playing, were good. I do not know if they're just no longer good, or if that's just people taking it's a gacha, so therefore the lower rarity characters are better, and just applying that. It's like I don't know. I'm not caught up with Star Rail. I haven't played since that point. If you're interested as to why I stopped playing, is because I realized I spent more time doing the museum event than I did actually playing the game. And why am I playing this game? I noticed whenever I did actually play the game, I just auto battled everything, and it was like, this is just the economy of Genshin without any of the gameplay. Is my vibe that I realized that I had while playing, and that's why I stopped. But on that note, remember, for those of you that have been here for a while, remember earlier I went through that point of the video where I said, how many copies of writing can I have on a team? Me taking advantage, taking for granted the number of people that this is Genshin's first gacha game. Mike's still in the chat, so he can tell you. And like I talked to him last night to just be like, this is the thing that happened, right? At the start of the game, I got a character that I was told was bad, and I got Fischl, who I was told was very, very good. And I said, okay, well, how do I feed this bad character to Fischl? For those of you who Genshin is their first gacha game, if I talk about feeding a character, you're going to think like Adeptus Temptation, right? It's like, no. So there's a mechanic in a lot of gachas called feeding, where you take lower rarity units and sometimes even higher rarity units. Like if we go back to that one, like this is awful in Girls X2 Battle, right? This is really bad at Girls X2 Battle. You take a character that's bad, and then you use them to improve the power of another character. And that character is gone. The bad character is gone forever. It's gone from your account. Like Girls X2 Battle in particular, like you will get, like there are limited characters that you will have to feed. To get to Limit Break 15, which is like the highest ascension you can get a character. It'd be like the equivalent of Constellation 6. You need a 10-star, which is 5 steps removed from Limit Break 15. 2 copies of the same character, and then a 9-star, which is 1 step removed from a 10-star. You need that many characters to get to the last step. And like those characters are gone forever. So like you invest all of these things into getting somebody to a 10-star just to move a character up 1 notch. And this is not an uncommon thing in gacha. It's feeding. In any sort of tier list for games that have feeding, you'll have a list of characters that are labeled food. That is just something that exists in other gachas that like I assumed people would know about, and I also assumed Genshin would have. Like one of the first things I asked was, how do I feed this bad character to Fischl? Yeah, that kind of goes both ways. Just interesting little thing. Let's see here. Where are we at? I don't agree with moving AR content locks, as they are there to ensure you are ready to progress. It does not take that long. Also, are you really suggesting Inazuma be paid DLC, or am I missing something here? Somebody said, oh no, he's totally saying Inazuma should be paid DLC. I've already addressed this. No, that is not what I was saying. I guess I can go through it again. I was saying is that when somebody starts the game, let's say they want to build Raiden. Like they get Raiden, they want to build Raiden. But they have not unlocked Inazuma yet. I believe something that would be very good for the game is if they were able to purchase an early unlock for Inazuma. Like you can still play through and get the Inazuma normally, or you can skip straight through it. Just like in WoW, where you could pay and you could start in a certain campaign or start at a certain level. That's what I was saying. This is something that live service games that get really big eventually have to do. Like it's an inevitability in a lot of games. That's what I was saying. And just the normal AR content locks, I feel like those are barriers that just keep people from playing the game. And if people are dropping off because they're like, oh, well, I guess I have to go farm chests now or go farm Oculus now, that creates a break point where they are less likely to come back to the game. That's bad for the game. Do you have proof that people are so dumb that they look at old videos for guys? Yes. Yes. And I stated it in the video. I did it. I did it. And like when VX reacted to the video, he said he did it. Right? It's not an uncommon thing. I am fully capable of being dumb. A lot of people are being capable of being dumb. It's kind of our default setting as people. Like we're initially going to think with our biases. We're going to think with what we know previously. For instance, like me saying, how do I feed this character to Fischl? We're going to go in things with biases. We're going to think illogically. We're going to use logical fallacies. And we're going to reach hasty conclusions that just aren't great. And we're going to be, when we don't know something, we're going to be more open to information that's inaccurate. So when you're just starting the game and you know nothing about the game, you don't know that those videos are bad. Yeah, Mayor, I already said I don't think Hoya would let that slide. I looked up Shungling guides in 2.2 and I recommended a bunch of Crescent Pikes. And it was really funny when Honkai Star Rail came out. It was really funny when Honkai Star Rail came out because we saw the same exact thing that was happening in those early Genshin videos. Like the Honkai Star Rail community was going to war about QQ. It's like QQ is the Xiangling of this game, right? And then there are people who are like, oh no, she's total trash. It's like, obviously she's a 4-star, so she can't be good. It's like it was really funny to see the same things that I saw playing out when I was looking back on those older videos. I was like, to be clear, like I came in a year and a half late, right? I came in January 2022. So like I was a bit more immune to some of those things. Why do you even read the comments? It's never worth it. Keep your mental health alive. Well, I'm not sitting here to like trying to argue with the comments, right? That's not what I'm trying to do. Like I got some concerns about some data that I brought up and some things I'm trying to clarify. Like normally this is the type of thing you do in a pen, but if I were to type all of this out into a pen, it would look like I'm just ranting, right? I'm trying to show I'm keeping a level head about this, right? Hoyo doesn't have ownership over Element. Mayor, there's a thing called trade secrets, right? We don't know what things are considered to be trade secrets as far as Genshin goes. I don't think any sort of indie dev should take the risk of potentially stepping on something that they could potentially seek legal action over. I don't think that's worth it. Like I would love to see a game that gives me everything that Genshin does, but is good to its fans. Like that would be great. That would be ideal. But I'm not sure that can happen. I don't really have any reason to think that can happen. Do have a reason to think that if it did, Hoyo would lose their shit. And by the way, welcome, Moose. Moose, longtime friend. Moose has been with me through the shit. All right. But yes, I do have proof that people are so dumb because I am one of those dumb people. As long as they don't steal assets, like I said, we don't know what they'll claim ownership over. Like you can look at what's going on with Power World right now. There have been claims that they took things, but a lot of those have been debunked. Most of it's coming out of nowhere. Nintendo is still going after them, right? As far as we know, that there's nothing, but Nintendo thinks there is something. Yeah, let's not make guides so we don't get job and get paid. Woohoo, yay. Yeah, I was not telling them that they don't have to do their job and get paid. I gave them, and like we already went through this. I even made thumbnails for them. Like I was saying, you can still make videos. You can still get your bag. Just don't promote the character. Right? And yes, if we
You can take one look at my channel, which had important to me.
Too far.
But what about their livelihoods? Do you honestly think they need to make guides to make money on Twitch and YouTube?
This is one thing that got overlooked, but like this isn't a big thing. Turning on super thanks is fucking huge. Like on YouTube, like the money just manifests. It just comes out of nowhere. Like you can't really do daily streams on YouTube. That's not really sustainable, at least from what I've seen. But I've seen things go wild since they had super thanks.
You can take one look at my channel, which had 50 subs last year, mind you, and see there are other ways to get views. These channels have 100 times my subscriber.
All right, here we go. Like this was on screen when people were saying, "Oh, like yeah, guides are so easy. That's why they do it." It's like literally like this was on screen when they were saying it. Yeah, guides are just easy copy and paste content that's guaranteed to get views. If you look at their channels, right, they have put out things other than guides. They are capable of doing it. They don't have to do guides. Guides are easy content that they can do, and it generates money. But like they can do other videos. Like I am not saying, hey, stop making videos. I am not telling them to stop playing the game. Like from a content creator perspective, I know it is really hard to make videos on this game without getting footage of the game. You know, like, and that's why I didn't tell them, hey, stop playing the game. I was like, just don't make guides. Just don't make guides on the new characters. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. And they can do that. They can 100% do that. And then like this, I was debating whether or not to put this on here because I don't really want to make fun of this person, but I'm going to try my best not to make fun of it. I want to look at this as like genuine criticism. Why are you acting like you're riding such a moral high horse? I don't think that's what I'm doing. I don't think I'm any better or worse than anyone else here. I'm just pointing out things as I see them, like with what we have available to us, and drawing conclusions from that. And instead of just making conclusions from nothing, like I'm looking into and being like, this is what this shows. Just doing the best I can with what we have instead of just repeating what other people are saying. Because, as I said earlier, other people can be wrong. Why are you acting like, including me? Why are you acting like a Redding deal? I'm not. These content creators you speak of create these content because it's their livelihood. They make guides and stream Genshin because they need to make money off of it. You want these content creators to speak up on these problems, but you cannot forget that it is their livelihood. They earn money from this. They feed their family from this. What do you expect them to do? Not creating content, feed their families. Heirs starve not to pay their bills. Holy shit, your takes are one moment agreeable. Your next 10 takes are so unagreeable that it's so frustrating to watch this. Your next 10 takes. So I'm going to try to be nice about this. The fact that they said takes are one moment agreeable and your next 10 takes are so unagreeable, it's for us. They stopped watching after this point. Like, it's clear that they stopped watching after this point. Right? Because immediately after I said, don't make guides, I gave video ideas for things that they could do other than making guides. That was the thing that was immediately followed this. So, like, I'm trying my best, like, not to make fun of what you're saying here. But, like, it's pretty clear from this statement right here that you did not continue watching the video, which is fair. If you don't want to, don't. But, like, you're making a claim about the video that's just factually incorrect. My next 4 takes were ideas of what they could do to still make the money they need without making guides. Just don't leave Genshin open if you're going to boycott the game. Just close the game, please. Just quit Genshin. Bro. Oh, God. It's so hard not to. I'm sorry. However, some employees aren't going to beg for you to come back. Like, I'm not trying to tell anyone to quit the game, right? That's not what I want out of this. And, like, I'm not sitting here saying that it's the worst game ever. Like, I'm pretty upfront about the fact that I really, really like this game. So, like, I don't want to quit. But I am willing to make some changes to my personal habits and how I play the game or don't play the game if it means doing something good for the community. Right? Like, I'm not just complaining for the sake of complaining here. Like, I see something that I think is bad for the future of the game. And I want them to do something about it. That's where I'm at. I don't expect them to beg for me to come back. And, like, I don't intend on, like, going anywhere. Like, until we get a response, like, I'm obviously not going to support them. But, like, that's the biggest thing, is they have to stop conducting their business like they are a gacha game that generates between, like, 800,000 and 1.5 million a month. Like, they have to stop doing that. They are $1 billion company. They are $1 billion company. They need a change of leadership. Like, they are out of their element in what they're doing right now. They need to bring in somebody that can actually run a business of that scale. I don't see them being able to maintain the success that they have had as things are now. And I would prefer that they continue being successful so I can continue playing the game and actually see the end of the story. And P.S. using Genshin Library's source is extremely not credible. It is far more credible, and, like, I've addressed this before, it is far more credible than talking out of your ass, which is what everyone else has done. That, or they've just look at these things without contextualizing them. I just took what data we have available, which is this, and this, and this. That's pretty much it. And I have drawn conclusions based on that, which is something that people had not done to that point. I don't know. I think that gets everything that it pretty much touches on everything. Like there were a lot of comments that were similar sentiments, so I tried to keep this to things that were at least slightly different, so I could hit on different points. Um, so I think I addressed pretty much every concern that people had with the video. Whether you think I was fair in addressing those concerns, that's up to you. I was trying to be as fair as I could, but people will believe what they want to believe. That's just the default way people think. I doubt I'm going to change any minds here, but like I'd rather just go through this as casual as I can than leaving something in the pins that looks like I'm ranting. Before I go, there is something that like I want to talk about, and I'm not sure what would be appropriate to say about it. Yeah, it, ugh. I'm not sure what's okay to say about this, but and like you can totally take this as me talking completely out of my ass. You can totally take that. I 100% understand why you would think that because like I can't give anything to back this up. Uh, I am in a position where I don't think it would be wise for me to disclose anything regarding this. But I think the gacha space on YouTube is about to collapse in on itself. Not just Genshin, not just Honkai Star Rail. I think things are about to get really bad for the gacha space on YouTube. So I'm going to take a bit to try to rethink my content, uh, because I I do not see things going well in the gacha space, particularly on YouTube, um, in the future. Like maybe, mm, I don't know what I can and can't say about this, but I think I'm safe to at least give the talking out of my ass point that I think things are about to implode in this space. I would like to be able to give the things that have led me to that conclusion. I don't think it would be wise to do that. Um, Plus, like probably the only people that see this are people that check the pins, and they're probably not going to sit through the whole thing. But that is just something like for those of you that are here that are actually like looking forward to my next content. I think I will be rethinking my content because I things are kind of sketch where things are at the moment. In my opinion, I don't think Hoyo is neglecting Gijim because they have really good exploration in Question 4.4. The other wards aren't good, but that's not the only thing in this game. Yeah, 100%. 100% there's a lot of other things you can do. However, they've shown that they can do a lot of the things that people are asking them to do. Sorry for the random message. I've been typing for a while. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. Um, yeah. Just the fact that they haven't responded or conspiracy theory hats, their response was the content creators being allowed to talk about the issues. Conspiracy hat off. The fact that they haven't responded is not a good sign for the company, right? Uh, they should probably have somebody like queued up to take the fall. A company this big should like just have somebody ready to take the fall for them. Like that could have happened like immediately. Like this person is on paid leave while we look into um, like that's at least something, right? I don't see the decisions by the leadership at the company as things that are sustainable for a multi-billion-dollar company. So that makes me fear for the future of the company. But yeah, um, yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I think I'm gonna rethink my content. Um, Not sure where that's at yet. Um, I do really want to do the Paradise Lost theory. Maybe, maybe when things settle down, I'll circle back to it. But definitely, like I'll probably be quiet for a little bit while I rethink the content. Um, at least my channel will be. Uh, I almost said something I shouldn't. But I'll probably be in some other spaces, like still pushing the boycott. But my channel will probably be quiet for a little bit while I rethink the state of my channel. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. Thanks for hanging out.